Hi, I'm Devin.
And I'm Donnie.
And we're Honey Revenge, and we're hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
What's up, guys? Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. I am hanging out with Honey Revenge. I've been trying to get with the two of you for quite some time, so I'm excited that we can finally make it happen. How are you guys doing on this tour so far?
Hi, we're doing good. Thanks for making time to see us. I know we've been kind of busy, but we're stoked to be here.
Absolutely. This is, like I said, like you guys have been on tour what seems to be like this entire year. So how has that kind of impacted like your creative process? Just because you get to experience new audiences, new stages, new states.
Yeah, it's completely different because now I can kind of see what it is that people like and what it is that people respond to. So I can be a little bit more meticulous than just, oh, I think that sounds kind of fun. So it's really cool. More insight.
And I love that it's like perfect timing because the debut album just dropped. Such an incredible record. Let's go dive into this like recording process of it. Various producers that you guys have had on there. One of them, Eric Ron, who I love so much. But like, talk to me about having like, what was it like having these various producers and still kind of having this cohesive body of work?
Thank you for saying that. We really aimed for that, and we were for sure definitely like a nervous feeling going into this with a few different people. Yeah. I think everyone really got the vision. The way we kind of went about it with new people that we were working with, because, you know, we had some people we'd been working with for a while, like Zach Jones and KJ Strock. Like, those are people that have known us and kind of grown our sound with us. But then there were people, like you said, Eric, who I've known personally for a long time, but we hadn't gotten the chance to work with each other yet. It was definitely a situation where we would bring them a demo of something we had already that we'd been working on to give them an idea of what we were attempting to go for. And then usually after that, we'd bring them a new song and write with them, so they kind of got the flow of what we were aiming to sound like.
And that dynamic, like taking it into the studio, like I feel like that kind of also changes, like not just like the performance or the cadences, but I feel like the writing process as well. How do you feel that affected you guys?
It was really cool. I liked it a lot because this record was like the first time I ever tried to write anything, you know? So it was great to get into all these different rooms with all these people that have done it for X amount of years. I can kind of get into their brain, see why they make the decisions that they do, what makes this stuff cool, why is it that I like this guitar tone and not that one? Just getting all this weird stuff that I would never figure out in my room, you know? So it's super cool just absorbing from all these different people.
Yeah. As far as like the guitar tones, I love how much guitar we get on this record. For you, like, do you feel like you kind of stepped out of your comfort zone a lot throughout this process? And did that depend on you personally, or did that depend on the producer?
Most definitely, and a little bit of both. Some songs I was trying to like push and do some weird shit, like Worst Apology, that clean guitar part. I was like, what's something really hard, really catchy that I can figure out? And that's where we landed. And then with stuff like Airhead, I never would have thought to do like exactly. Yeah, that was a KJ thing. That intro part, like the curtain, KJ just sent that in our group chat one day. He was like, hey, what do y'all think about this? And then it just blossomed out. And even going in with Eric for Disappointment, like that bridge section, I would have never done something like that. And he said, what do you think about maybe changing up the vibe into this different pace? I was like, dude, that's fucking great. So it's been really great pushing us in all these different directions.
Yeah. The fact that you have this experience with KJ and Zach, for you, like writing process wise, like how do you feel that they allow you to kind of be comfortable with them when you step into the studio, but also like be able to like step out of that comfort zone and try something new?
I think KJ and Zach are awesome, especially KJ, because he has always encouraged us to not just work with him and to work with other people. You know, sometimes you run into a situation where you're working with someone who wants to be your primary person, which is awesome. And I think I'd love to maybe be there one day, but we're so early in the process of being Honey Revenge and finding our sound. And he's always supported us seeking out help from other people. And I mean, people like Mike Green that we got to work with for Are You Impressed? And Eric Ron, like you were saying, like these are people that have made music that I have listened to since I was really, really young, and music that has absolutely influenced me and the music that we made on this album. So it's like, it was kind of a no-brainer, you know, in that aspect. Like we had people that were making things that we wanted to eventually sound like. So it worked out perfectly, I think.
That just sounds so overwhelming, like being able to work with these people that you like idolize or you grew up listening to. Like, how did you guys kind of keep it calm and collected in the studio and like still be able to be students at the same time?
I did not. I was I was so anxious the entire time. Like after a while, I kind of got comfortable. I'm like, oh, I know how KJ works. I kind of feel like I can guess what he's gonna like. But going in with like these new producers, I was terrified, just shaking in my boots. I was like, what do you think about this idea? And then it's just like different. But I was very much trying to just be in sponge mode and just absorb as much as I could while we were there, you know?
I think for me, you know, you grew up in LA and there's this complex of celebrities all around. And I think I might be a little bit desensitized to all of it because I've been around it for so long. It's the same way that people get excited and freak out over meeting us. Like when you're in your own skin, it's like, I'm just a silly little guy. Like I'm just some person. And that's what a lot of these producers are. Like they have the accreditation that they do and they've worked so hard to get where they are, but they, I think, are just really awesome people. Like I've known Eric again personally for a really long time. I've known KJ since I was 15. Like I was going to shows from his band that they were playing. Same with Zach. I saw Zach's old band play and they've kind of grown with me. So I think there's that comfort. But I'm also a little different. Like Donnie's a little more introverted and I'm a little bit of an oversharer from the jump and I'm a little all over the place. So I don't really have that like I'm trying to prove myself. So I think I don't go in it with a ego mentality as much as like I want to impress these people. So I'm going to show up and do good shit. You know what I mean? Like it's important to me to be in that process and feel confident and comfortable. So I kind of just have to make my brain that way.
How did that impact your writing process though? Just because like you listened to this record and you really like just went vulnerable throughout. Yeah. So, you know, are there times that you're like, I'm talking too much about this topic or I'm not ready to talk about? Like, did you feel that during this record and how did you kind of let yourself go and just create what you did? That's
a good question. There's a lot of songs that I feel really proud of the lyrics and the way that I got my emotion out into the words of it. Like Worst Apology, that was like the last song we wrote for Retrovision. And it's one of my favorites. Seeing Negative's really cool because that was kind of just a word vomiting thing. I didn't really have a plan. Donnie had sent me their instrumental and I kind of just scattered over it with what I was feeling at that moment. But then there's songs like Scapegoat, which I had for, I don't know, like 2-3 years from when I first met Donnie. And that was kind of like opening up an old wound. So that was the one that was kind of tricky because it's like, okay, I kind of have to put myself back into that state of emotion and feel those feelings again, which felt kind of icky because I had felt like I had moved past it a little. But I'm really stoked on how it came out overall. I'm a very vulnerable person and I want that to shine through in our music because I want it to be so us. That's really important to me. And I think I did my very best and I hope that I accomplished that because it seems like people relate and that's what I'm going for. That's what makes me feel good. So
how do you guys balance these dynamics in the studio for you? Like what was it like kind of, you know, you get into Devin gets into the booth and, you know, belts out, screams out, whatever, like these like hardcore emotions or feelings. And then you come in like the shy person that you are. So, but you still kill it with the guitar. So what was that balance like?
It was just like a lot of bouncing ideas back and forth. Like when we first met, we would start writing. She would like have an idea vocally and she would just like sing it into her phone and be like, hey, write something to this. And so then we would do that for a while. And then I was like, I want to have an idea first. So then I started writing stuff and I would send to her and she would put vocals on it. So it was just be like finding a balance there and it just kept growing and growing. And it got to the point to like, we would be in the studio, she would do vocals on top of something and be like, wait, let's do something different there. Let's try to make her sound good. Cause you know, that's my job. You know, like, yeah, I can do the fast stuff, but that's not what it's about.
Oh, go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say like, I've talked about this before, but me and Donnie really balance each other out. Like I've gone through stages of being super negative and hard on myself and our place in the industry as a young band. And Donnie's younger than me. And when we met, they were 18 and I was a little more bitter because I had been through my own experiences in my own past projects. And they were always there to kind of, you know, be encouraging. They were like, how sick is it that we're even doing this? You know, and it always put that in perspective for me. Whereas I feel like my goal was to kind of bring them out of their shell and make them feel more comfortable, not just around like producers and stuff, but around fans. And like, it's a weird thing having people want to take a picture with you and like stop you in your tracks and like tell you very heartfelt things about how they feel about what you're making. So I think it was my purpose in this project to kind of just make Donnie feel as comfortable as possible, but also push them a little outside of their comfort zone, if that makes sense. I know it's kind of conflicting. But
That's what we get with this album. It's like these dynamics that we kind of get. Like that's what you guys experienced in the studio together. Vocally though, like how do you feel that you stepped out of your comfort zone? Like which song do you feel like challenged you the most when you were recording it?
Murphy's Law was really interesting. I definitely like broke down a couple times singing that one. Not because it's like anything too crazy, but just I feel very confident about writing things that I've come up with. But when it comes down to like the actual improvisational factors of like riffing on something with a bunch of people there, it psychs me out and I tell myself I can't, which is bad. And I had to be pushed. We had really awesome producers, but we also had someone named Canner. She's a rock star.
Amazing.
If you know anything about Canner, she writes with all of the artists that are killing it right now. And it's nice to have another lady there also for me, because a lot of what I'm dealing with is very like female perspective, I find, in my opinion. And she's really, really awesome at like telling me I'm going to do fine. It's going to be okay. She would sing the part for me and then be like, give it your own twist though. You know what I mean? So I never felt like I was having the creative control taken away from me, but I felt like I had someone there to kind of lead the way in the things where I wasn't super confident.
Yeah. With Canner, just because like her credits are more in like the EDM space. And Cray obviously is like one of the main ones. So like when you work with someone like that, that's very focused on a different kind of genre that you are creating, does that have any impact on your writing process?
Does she do more EDM? I've always known her for like her work with like Scene Queen and Mr. Wives.
I guess maybe I've just focused more on like the Cruellas and the Craze that I've seen, but you're right. I guess it's a mixture of it all, right?
I think she's very, very talented at just being a chameleon and taking on the room she's in. 'Cause from what I knew her from, she had done all of this stuff. You know, she had worked on so much I didn't even know. Wow. And I think that's the thing about being a writer is no one gets to know all of it, you know, especially because not everything comes out when you're doing that sort of work. But yeah, she just like, I always say she gives the songs a BBL. Like she takes the fat of what I'm trying to get the point across to be in a song and she puts it where it's supposed to be. I will kind of ramble and go into detail about things, and that's not always good for a song. You kind of lose interest. You want to like hit hard, kind of say less is more, you know what I mean? And hit them over the head with the idea without making them feel like it's your personal experience. You want them to relate. So she would really help me like spread it around in a way that I think was good for the general public and digestible.
Yeah. Donnie, I'm surprised that you're an introvert because on stage you're a completely different person. How did you get comfortable doing that, or was that something that just naturally happened for you?
When I first started playing shows, like 2018, I was living in Georgia. I would just stand there. I was petrified. And I realized people didn't really enjoy watching me stand still. And so I would like talk to people. It's like, hey, how do you get better stage presence? And the best advice I ever got, homie said, put your knees together and look down and just do that. And then that just like kickstarted. I'm like, oh, I can just move in general while I'm playing guitar. And then if I'm having fun, everyone else is going to have fun too. And it helps that I'm just like having fun, you know? Like people say I'm like a really smiley guitar player, and it's not like on purpose. I just get up there like, oh man, y'all like this? Cool.
That's very true. That's one thing that really is apparent every time that, you know, whether I see a live show or I see like an online recording. So I'm excited that you guys got to work together and you guys are creating this masterpiece of Honey Revenge. It's shocking that it's still very new because it really feels like the two of you have been doing this project forever. So congratulations with the success so far. Congratulations with this album, Retrovision. And I'm looking forward to doing this again soon.
Yeah, thank you for having us. I think we're just one of those bands that kind of made a good situation out of a bad one. You know, Donnie, it's a tale old story, hit us up to join my old band, and that band broke up so fast after that. Not because of Donnie, just because of the circumstances.
He was smiling too much. The guy.
It was just like what was happening, and we've kind of had to learn to trust the universe, and sometimes it didn't always feel like the right moment, and it's because it wasn't, and now we're doing it exactly when and where we're supposed to with the right people. And it's easy to get FOMO. I get such bad FOMO. But I'm just really stoked to be doing. It's crazy that we have a full-length album out. That shit's wild. Like, that is something I've been working for my entire life, and to see it resonating with people is all you can ask for. But thank you for having us. Like, absolutely. I love getting to talk about the songs and the process so much and not just be like, where'd you get the band name from? So it rocks. Thank you for giving bands and artists the opportunity to do that.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to doing this again soon. So hopefully it'll be a more quiet setting. We'll sit down. We'll have a more conversational tone. But thank you so much for doing this. I'm so glad that we got to do it. You guys be sure to check out Honey Revenge. The new debut album is out now, Retrovision. They're currently on tour with Arrows in Action. And just catch them. They're going to be on tour pretty much the rest of this year. So thanks for watching Unfront Live.